From the Bass Channel, and today on Basic Gear Review we're checking out the Drip Spring Reverb from TC Electronic. And like we've been doing for the last few videos, I'm going to start by reading some facts off of the website manual. We're going to hear a bunch of different tones from a bunch of different basses and a bunch of different players, and at the end I'm going to give you my opinion. So if that's something that's worthwhile to you, go ahead and stick around to the end of the video, but for now, let's get into it. Spring Reverb gives your guitar the authentic sound of the classic Spring Reverb units found in the Fender amps of the 60s. When maxed out, the effect can be extremely lo-fi, or it can be applied more subtly to add the unmistakable character and charm that livens up any dry guitar sound. Oh, that was a run-on sentence. Sound sample that you just heard is by my good friend Jayme Lewis over at thebassist.net. If you've never been to thebassist.net, it's a really cool website filled with educational material, jam tracks, PDFs for lessons, Jayme's music, and most importantly, my favorite, Ignite Musical Training. It's a 12-week course with both video and PDF components. I've already watched the first two and have learned quite a bit, so if you want to come over and learn with me, head over to thebassist.net/basschannel for an exclusive discount off of your first billing cycle. With an intuitive set of controls on board, Drip Spring Reverb can easily be dialed in to satisfy a wide variety of reverb cravings. Tone lets you set how bright the reverberations are for either a clear, piercing sound or a more subdued and dark effect. Dwell sets the length of the reverb tail for everything from a whisper to a wave crashing into a California coastal cavern. As much as I try to get away from California, I just can't seem to do it. The mix knob lets you dial in the perfect balance between the reverberated signal and your dry tone. So this is again from TC Electronics All Analog line. You've probably noticed a bunch of these on the channel. That's because they sent us a bunch of these to be reviewed. So we'll have a couple more as we go on, but for right now we're talking about the drip. We got basically a 3-knob Spring Reverb, true bypass in TC Electronic fashion, top mounted jacks, 100 milliamps, center negative, input output, kind of all the usual suspects that you'd come to expect from a TC Electronic pedal. Built pretty well. Let's hear a couple more tones. So I think that about covers the factual portion, so we'll get into my impressions of the pedal. First off, it's in that, TC Electronic analog vintage, whatever this line of pedals is called. So, feels decent, feels good. I always judge reverb units based on how well they emulate Spring. And one of the best Spring units I've ever heard was the Fender Boss 63 Reverb. But the problem with that, like this, is that's all it really does, and sometimes I want a little bit more versatility. Something, say, like the Cathedral or something. Funny enough, the worst Spring sound I've ever heard out of a reverb unit is TC Electronics Hall of Fame. Most of the other settings sound really good, the Spring on it is horrible. So that brings us to the drip. It does the Spring sound really well. Again, that's all it does. Now, I'm not as much of a Spring Reverb kind of surf guitar like, say, Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum. He's probably got a lot more insight onto the Spring quality of these. But from what I understand is in a pedal form where there actually is no Spring in here, what they're doing is they're getting that drip sound with a pre-delay. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's how most companies do it. I could be wrong. But that's definitely what they're doing. The mix knob, again, I don't know if this is just because it's on bass and it's a different frequency register. It seems like any lower than, say, maybe 11 o'clock, I really couldn't hear the Spring. So my sweet spot was kind of right about 2. I'm sure you noticed the majority of the sounds kind of had the mix knob right around 2, and that seems to where you get the best balance of dry and effective. That being said, I do have a Fender Blues Junior that I run that SG bass through quite a bit, and Spring Reverb on bass sounds cool, especially this bass. It kind of brightens it up, it makes it sound real nice and lively. So yeah, Spring Reverbs on bass for a certain style of music sound really cool. I think that this would be a great addition to your arsenal. Again, if you need more versatility, I'd say go the Cathedral. But if you're just looking for even if you're just starting, if you're just wanting to try your first reverb, or you say, hey, you know, I don't have a Spring Reverb, let me try it, then this would be a great option. It does the drip sound really well, even though it's pre-delay, you know. Decent, sounds good. Sounds better than the Hall of Fame Spring. So anyway, take that for what you will. And I think that just about wraps it up. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more, please consider subscribing. You can also check out Patreon for more exclusive content, and somewhere right about here is another video that YouTube feels is best suited to you. So until next time, I'm Chris with the Bass Channel, and thanks for watching.